Alright, so the fabulous Skywalker WinWing rudder pedals. What's great about them? What's not great about them? Okay, what's great about them? What's great about them is I have very limited use of some of the muscles in my legs, so I have a hard time pushing. So what's great about them is they allow me to stirrup with the arch of my slipper and pull the rudders back and forth without me just doing more than leaving my leg lay here. So I don't have to put any pressure from my leg, which only likes to stand pressure when I'm standing straight up, so I don't really have push power. So I'm articulating that movement with just this foot. And the toe brakes are very minimalistic. So if I pick my foot up here, I can push in on the toe brakes, but I can set them to where they really work good. You know, so I don't have to push in as far, because like this leg here pushes in farther. What I didn't like about them was the fact that nothing came in the box. There's nothing in there whatsoever, no instructions how to hook it up. What is the dampener for? Where does it go? What's the spring for? What's the lock for? No information whatsoever, or bolts to mount it. I ended up using the bolts out of the MIP setup that was in here, into those holes right here. It was kind of janky to buy some because you needed recessed heads or smaller heads, or not threaded heads, or not 6-point heads or 12-point heads, squared heads. So I used the ones that came in the MIP. They look kind of like these right here, and they just dropped through there really nicely, and then I used an Allen key to affix it to the platform there. So the stick and throttle very well have held up pretty decent over here on the throttle. I've done a little bit of abuse to these right here and had to replace them, but everything else has worked great. The PTO panel could be better. I like it, but they really should have made them into two, so you could have mounted one over here like I've got the on your 12 panels left and right. Would have been real easy to do, seeing how someone could do it from home like on your 12. WinWing could have done better with that. Other than that, I do like the PTO. It feels good. You know, you do have to be careful with it. There are plastic components. It's not 1,000%, you know, metal. It's not like the Jet. The MIP. The MIP. Okay, the MIP. The MIP is a real deal problem with everything about it, as far as getting it home, unboxing it, taking it out of the packaging, and figuring it all out. There is zero information in there, just like everything else. And it's a real issue because there's a lot of cables to it. There's a lot of plugs on the back that present themselves many questions. There's excessive tools. There is all kinds of issues with how to download it, what to do. So WinWing's got to do better with that. They really do. They need to make sure they start incorporating some information in there that's textual and have some pictures with it. Would help matters out for us guys that don't know how to research yet through this wonderful platform called YouTube. Even though it is a handy platform, it's a wreck, guys. It's a wreck. There's so much misinformation, half information, most information, speculative information, information based on your individual needs, wants, and desires, and not the whole of everybody's computers and what you got and this and that and the other. Basically, what you need to understand is you need power. If you're going to run all of this gear, if you're going to have all of this stuff, all of these lights, all these panels, and have it all work and then have a Pimax, you need power. In my genuine opinion, you need to have 1200 watt power source to be comfortable. I have an 850 gold, and I've had to use two 90 watt power supplies and only plug those into the computer and one dongle, and everything else has to run separately from I have 8 and 9, so each one has to be separated up. It's not so much about the power either, it's also about information exchange. Each power hub can transfer 10 gigabytes of data, and if you're trying to transport a lot of data using the screens, for sure, then you've got a lot of data transfer to the HOTAS and to the MIP and everything, and if you're trying to run it all on one hub, that's an issue. So you want to make sure you have at least an 850. I would recommend, if it were me building computers, to make sure I built what I wanted and got what I needed and got to have a Pimax. I wouldn't start with what I have, which is a 4060 Ti with a 850 watt gold. and then my preferred choice of AMD processor at the Ryzen 9 is pretty good processor. I know there's a step up, but my 4060 Ti should have been enough for all of this, according to everybody's specifications. But it was not. Didn't have enough power. Needed power hubs. Well, not enough frame rates to handle this bad boy right here, guys. Just going to go ahead and tell you right now, it makes me sick. I don't like to use it. I prefer not to. I like my good track IR system. It's excellent. It just doesn't give me that immersive feeling, but it also doesn't make me want to throw up, give me a headache. I need at least a 4080 in my opinion, and if 4080, why not go 4090? Well, the reasons why is because an AMD version, in my opinion, a graphics card from AMD would work very well and would get me more card for the buck. I'm going to try it. I think I'm going to go with an AMD graphics card and get the 24 gigabyte of VRAM or something like that, whatever. It's all Greek to me. I think I'm going to attempt it, and I believe it'll run perfectly with DCS and everything else at a fraction of the cost of a 4090. Give me almost 4090 specs on a 4080 or less price. Just my opinion. Comment and tell me if I'm wrong. I need to know because I'm trying to make decisions outside my pay grade, basically. This is not my forte. All right, guys. We're going to rock off here, and I'll continue to talk about the MIP and how it feels as I continue to test it. But so far, I like it. Set up, once you're through that hump, using it, and once you get a setup going, it's a process to get a workflow with it to make sure you turn it on right. And then if you're going to use the VR, you've got to do some extra special things. And if you're going to use Discord, you got to do some extra special things. You've got to make sure everything is lined up. If you're going to record and stream, you got to make sure all your settings go from your traditional headset like I'm used to the Pimax headset, right? So if you go from this to that, you've got to change everything, right, manually. It doesn't do it. So yeah, you've got to do your settings in Discord, and then you've got to make sure your settings in DCS are the same. So it's a process, it's a learning curve, and I'm getting it down. All right, guys, we'll see you in the skies.